Kumusta ka, Pilipinas? Ako sa Akaza at yung time to review Betrayed again. And I don't mean this album because we've already reviewed Why Must Everything Involve Politics, the CD. Thank you again to Boyd Miguel and his wife and daughter for sending me this months ago. A link to watch my review of this album will be in the description below, as well as a link to listen to this album. And I also don't mean Betrayed literal again, the 1996 album I Betrayed. A link to listen to that album will be in the description below, and sometime in the future we'll review that one. Tonight, we're gonna go way back in time to 1985/86 to talk about the first Betrayed album, self-titled Betrayed. Originally released in 85 on DMZ Records, that's the Demilitarized Zone, that space between North and South Korea, where there's no country technically owns it, right? There's a bunch of landmines down there, and if you're not careful when you walk through, you blown up. Just like the cover of the Why Must Everything Involve Politics album, it's all flames, Betrayed's bursting through the flames. That's what happens when you're not careful and you walk through the demilitarized zone, the DMZ zone, and you get blown up by the landmines. It's an explosion. And what does all that have to do with this? Betrayed is known as the first hardcore punk band from the Philippines, or they're also dubbed as the fastest band in the land back in the day. Yeah, fit that in pretty well. In fact, guys, I think I know how to defeat Kim Jong-un at this point. Send the guy I betrayed, he said. That'll do it. That'll blow his fucking mind and make him think right. Anyway, so, yes, Betrayed formed back in 1980, and the rest of Betrayed is pretty much fucking history. If you're a Filipino punk, then this band needs absolutely no introduction. But if you're not, then allow me to read off of this blog spot that I found, because when something isn't broken, don't fix it. The first Betrayed album. This self-titled album by Betrayed came out originally in 85 under a label called DMZ, as I stated, and according to this guy, they say it was the fastest selling independently released record at the time. How many copies were produced and sold by DMZ? The world may never know. However, in 86, Tommy Tanchenko reissued it under Twisted Red Cross. And if you saw my thumbnail, the white cassette tape label in the background, that's the original DMZ label, which I got that picture from Betrayed's actual Facebook. They posted a picture of it a while back. And under it, behind the photo of the iconic legendary Twisted Red Cross, the most known cassette tape with the People's Tonight, Vivian Villiers, the Filipino actress, you know, that's the Betrayed tape everybody knows about. Behind that one and next to it, there is the black background with the red Betrayed font, UARM 1994 reissue. That's actually a bootleg. I learned that from my buddy Boyd Miguel. That one's actually a bootleg, which, you know what's kind of funny about that bootleg? That I just learned this the other day. So, it says the Ultimate US Sound on it. And I didn't really understand what that was about until I read further. I've never listened to the original Betrayed, well, the DMZ, nor the Twisted Red Cross, because I don't own anything. This right here this is the only Betrayed physical album, original album that I own. I've heard a digital rip of the TRC tape, and I've heard a digital rip of the black tape, but I've never actually listened to the tape itself, so I can't really judge the sound quality. But from those who I've spoken with who have heard DMZ, TRC, and UARM, they have told me that the UARM is actually a rip of the Twisted Red Cross tape, but remastered and enhanced, which, for a bootleg, that's pretty heavy talk right there. Because, you know, bootlegs, it's in the name. Bootlegs are generally not made, they're not conceived from the master. They're not conceived from the master tape, so generally a bootleg doesn't always have the best sound quality, but from what I've heard, and from, the black tape has a more enhanced sound quality because someone took the Twisted Red Cross tape and enhanced it for the ultimate US sound. It's kind of interesting. I've always wondered about that, but now I know. It's amazing what happens when you do some research. But anyway, so before we get into reviewing the track list here of Betrayed's self-titled album, I want to read the second part of this blog, which it's called Our Favorite Pinoy Pop Blogspot. I'm going to leave a link to this in the description below so you can check out this guy's writing and the rest of what he's done, because you got to credit the art, you got to credit whose information you use. That's part of journalism, you know that. This 14-track release has 2 different recording sessions. The and then and the now side. And one side was recorded by Betrayed's first lineup with Eddie Siojo doing vocal duties, while the other side vocals were done by Dominic Gamboa, aka Papa Dom, pre-Scavengers and Tropical Depression, although one song called Fight Fight had Buddy Trinidad singing on the vocals. And he says, even if I read their changing lineup over and over again, I still get confused. Since the band's formation in 1980, Betrayed have been a revolving set of members. They've changed personnel throughout their long history, but the current lineup is Buddy Trinidad on vocals and rhythm guitar, Ed Ramos on bass, Boyet Miguel, Tame and Tikbalang, lead guitar, Speedy Vidal, and all them, and Manny Pagshin, drums since '84. I'm going to leave that in the link in the description below so y'all can check that out, because that's very important. This guy's got a lot of good information on there. He's got a picture of the Betrayed tape from Twisted Red Cross. He talks about DMZ and he goes on the track list, and there's some good information in the comments here. It looks like the band themselves left some comments on this well over 10 years ago, because this blog spot was written in 2006. Salamat nagkapalasalik. I have a copy of the original DMZ release na Betrayed cassette. We decided to release it on a label, a subsidiary of A2Z Records, dahil gusto namin inipita release from the typical TRC underground release, neutral sa lahat without taking sides with anyone, hence the name DMZ. Hanip no independent within the underground. So, pretty much sum that up. The reason it first came out on DMZ is because all the other hardcore underground records are coming out on Twisted Red Cross, and Betrayed, instead of just following and doing what everybody else was doing at first, because eventually they did get hopped on to TRC. At first, they decided to go all neutral, kind of like what Private Stock did with Hype School. They put it on Payload Records instead of Twisted Red Cross, but you know what? More power to them, you know? Staying independent, going with your own pace. Hell yeah, go your own way. They put it out on DMZ first to not take any sides, and did really good, and apparently Tommy was like, hey, I want to put this on my label. And I talked to Boyd Miguel about this because I was trying to figure out what made the decision to go from DMZ to Twisted Red Cross, and unfortunately nobody really knows, because apparently Papa Dom is the one who talked with Leslie Davis, I believe, was the owner of DMZ, and Dom is the one that did all the dealings with the labels, and so the answer as to what caused them to go from DMZ to Twisted Red Cross remains an unknown, but you know, you do enough digging, you might be able to figure it out. But even if you don't figure it out, still, Betrayed is one of the most legendary Filipino punk rock bands of all time. They're up there with the band. It's the Dead Ends, the Private Stocks, the Chaos, you know, Phil Vio, GI. You can't talk about Philippine punk rock history without bringing up Betrayed. It's just impossible. They are one of the staples in the scene. In the Katrinas and Brave New World Live, you cannot talk about Filipino punk rock without bringing up Betrayed. And that's why at TRC 08, we're going to talk about this band, this cassette, this album, from Kids We Unite down to Punk Reigns. 14 tracks, explosive tracks. The flames are coming out. Betrayed is gonna rip the motherfucking mic and destroy the system entirely. Rip the establishment. Punch Marcos in the face. Because an urban assault. That's what's going on here. Anyway, this punk rock album by Betrayed, it's a bit different than a lot of the other albums on Twisted Red Cross, and for that matter DMZ, which I don't know how many albums were released on DMZ, but for Twisted Red Cross, because it changes it up. It's not just 14 obliteration hardcore tracks. I mean, they all do obliterate in their own ways, but it goes Kids We Unite, Cotton Crossfire, Urban Assault, Hardcore Rules. The first 4 tracks are hardcore punk. Just straight up raw, stripped down, no bullshit, rock and roll, hardcore punk. That's what the first 4 songs are, right? And then You got number 5, Where Has Love Gone? Where has love gone? Has it gone away? This kind of classic rock rendition of a punk rock song. Not new wave. No, no, no. This is like just a straight up rock and roll song, a love song in rock and roll style, classic rock. And they got some solos in there. They got some, still got the punk rock vibe to it. But I really like how they go from 4 hardcore tracks to just classic rock all of a sudden with the punk style out there. But it just fucking flows perfectly. And for anyone who's ever been in a serious relationship with someone and they leave you for someone else, they betray you, they just stab you right in the back. You know, thought you were my best friend, all the lies you said were full of shit. You know, we've all been in that sort of situation, so very relatable song, and according to all the Pinoy punks out there, that's one of the most iconic songs that they remember from their 80s scene. And hell yeah, it definitely is, man. Military Rule, Fight Fight, Betrayed by You, following Where Has Love Gone, the classic rock punk song on there. 3 more hardcore stripped down rock songs to just because you know the first 4 are hardcore punk, and then you got that classic rock to kind of mellow you out from the jumping around and then you rev the engine back up. Let me get revved up to this. Military Rule, which is about martial law as a response to, back then apparently a lot of people must have thought, well, some people must have thought that Marcos and his martial law was a good thing, which, yeah, there's, even today there's Marcos loyalists who will sit there and try to tell you that the martial law and the military rule served as a good force and not a force of evil, which, hey, you know what, Hitler brainwashed a bunch of people, so, and still today there's people who think Hitler was a good person, but, you know, that's what that song is about. Military rule is mom and dad trying to tell you that military rule is good and this and that. It's just a middle finger to those people who are talking good on military rule and martial law. That's what that is. And to an extent, tangentially, I do relate to this song because coming from a rather military family and someone who has opposed ever joining the army and, you know, being a part of the military-industrial complex, yeah, I do relate to that song to a degree. I mean, I have never lived under martial law, and no one in my family, no one around me, around in this country has ever told me that martial law or military rule is a good thing. Most people in my country are 100% dead against martial law. Thankfully, I mean, it's come up a lot. It's come up a bit in the past due to conspiracy theories, but at least here in the United States, most people are dead against any sort of military rule and martial law, even in places where society is beyond fucked, like in Detroit or sometimes Chicago. A lot of the bigger cities where there's parts of the city that are just torn apart by either poverty or social unrest. Majority of society is still like, no, we shouldn't do martial law. There's a much better alternative than resorting to that. Because I know what you're going to say for all of you who support it. Well, you see, martial law is only implemented when there's no other way to correct or to restore order in society. It's just the government's way of stepping in with the power of the military to establish rule, to get things going proper again. Which, in essence, I understand what you're saying there, but it always turns bad. Humans are corrupt. Humans are full of flaw. And military rule is never a good thing. If humans were absolutely perfect people, well, first of all, if we were perfect, we wouldn't need it in the fucking first place. But I understand what you loyalists are getting at, which I'm not condoning it. So I understand the idea of, you know, military is supposed to serve and protect and, you know, put order where it's supposed to be. But it never works out the way you intend it to. And then you also have them dictators who just get in and just want to control, and they use martial law to do that. So, there's 2 different sides of this story, and I'm not going to make an entire hour-long video on this subject, because fuck that, but, yeah, fuck military rule. You know, people deserve to be free. That's all there is to it. Fight, Fight, written by Buddy Turner, just a good song to get you revved up. Fight, 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 fight! Betrayed by You, probably my favorite song on this, next to Military Rule and Urban Assault, which I'll go back to Urban Assault in a minute. Betrayed by You is just a song about, have you ever been close to someone and, like, they want you to tell them everything, but there's just certain things that you don't tell them because maybe you've been hurt by so many people that you're afraid to get hurt again. That's kind of what it's about. And so when you open up to this person, you tell them things, but either you don't tell them the truth or you don't tell them everything, and they're like, well, you're not telling me the truth of what's going on. And you're like, well, it's because I don't want to get hurt, I'm too afraid to tell you everything or to tell you the truth because I don't want to get hurt by it. I don't want it to come around and bite me in the ass. Now take that on a personal level and toss that whole and put it on a larger scale towards society. You do a whole bunch of good for society. You do a whole bunch of things, and you don't want it to turn around and bite you in the ass. You know what I mean? That's what the song "Betrayed by You" is mostly getting at there. And don't we all relate to that to a degree? Don't we all? I cannot count the times that I've opened up to people just for them to use it against me in some way, shape, or form, or, use it as leverage, or anything of that nature. These are damn good songs, and it's no wonder that they're shredding fast, hardcore, most of them are. It's no wonder that this was one of the fast-selling records of the day, because this is just a firecracker, and it speaks on not just a politically charged level and a social level, but on a personal level. When you got something that speaks on multiple different levels, that's the goal. That's a piece of platinum right there. It saddens me that bands like Betrayed, The Dead Ends, Urban Bandits, Private Stock, on them, it saddens me that they're mostly known just in Southeast Asia and the Philippines, like all the American hardcore kids, the kids from the UK and such, the punk scenes all over the world. Most people don't know about these bands, and that's a big reason I'm doing these reviews, because these songs are damn good. When I first discovered a lot of these bands, a lot of these songs and these albums, I'm just like, how the hell do all these punk rockers who I know around here that, I've said before, I've got thousands of records, from Japan, from Europe, from South Africa, from almost every country on earth that's got something going on. I've only known about the Philippine punk rock scene since 2018. That makes me embarrassed, because just what an explosion this scene really is, and what an explosion just the substance it has. And Betrayed's first album definitely is full of substance, and it is damn good. I really want everyone, after you're done watching this review, to go listen to the first Betrayed album, because you will not regret it, I promise you, 100%. I will leave a link to listen to this in the description below. Next song after Betrayed by You is Never Meant to Be This Way, which I will say, caught in the crossfire, which we will get to in a moment. Never Meant to Be This Way. So, again, the 1996 album, Never Meant to Be This Way, is on that album. And if you want a more, I should say, 90s melodic hardcore version of it, I should say, do listen to that. This version is a more stripped down, raw hardcore punk. Never, never meant to be the... I'm not going to try to sing that because I can't sing with this shit, but like Where Has Love Gone, it's a more mellow rock and roll classic vibe version, of a classic vibe, classic rock song. Never Meant to Be This Way is the same sort of thing, and it sounds relatively similar to Where Has Love Gone. And it's another good change-up, because you got four, like I said, the album starts off with the four hardcore songs: Kids Will Unite, Caught in the Crossfire, Urban Assault, Hardcore Rules, and then it slows down with the mellow Where Has Love Gone, and then it goes back into Hardcore Obliteration, Military Rule, Fight Fight, Betrayed by You, and then, after those three, it cycles back into more of a classic rock thing, which actually Never Meant to Be This Way is a little more, I want to say 77 punk. Like, Where Has Love Gone is definitely more rock and roll, classic rock and roll. Never Meant to Be This Way is a little, it's got some of that vibe, but it's pushing more towards a smoother 77 punk style, I'd say that for sure. And then after that, When I Met You, And then we get into where the album really takes a fucking turn. Of the two songs that honestly I feel like they go together so well, Roots Reggae and To Jamming, or Jamming for short. Those songs are reggae, which really makes the album take an unexpected turn if you weren't even... Like, if you never heard this before, suddenly it hits Roots Reggae and you're like, whoa! Wow, that's bopping music there. Hell yeah. And, you know, I've noticed a lot of the Filipino punk rock albums kind of do like Fatal Response, as I reviewed a long time ago. You know, Dead Ends and Private Stock and all them, they get it revving up, and then Zoot Suit towards the end of Fatal Response. Got that rockabilly feel-good stuff going on there. This does the same thing. This Betrayed tape does the same thing. 1 through 10. First 10 songs are hardcore punk with a little bit of classic rock and a little bit of 77 smooth in there, just to keep you going, revved up, and, you know, whereas Love Gun slows you down a bit. And then you get to 11 and 12 that are just reggae, and it's just a total relax. It's a total jam out, rock out, have a little bop your head, have a good time. That's what that is. And then after 12, you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for song number 13? Because it is, of course, Love Song. Just for you. Here's a love song. Just for you. Yes, Betrayed did a cover of the Damned's Love Song. And I gotta say, it is one of the best. I want to say it is the best cover of the Damned's Love Song I've ever heard. Because I fucking love it. I absolutely love Betrayed's cover of Love Song. They did a perfect job of taking that song and putting their own DNA into it and making it perfect. It's fast, it's shred up, the vocals are good. It does it with excellence. And that's really all I gotta say about that. Bravo to Betrayed for taking one of the most iconic punk rock songs of all time from The Damned, which is one of the very first punk rock bands ever, which they were the first punk rock band in the UK to put out a record, the 7-inch New Rose. Shout out to Betrayed for Love Song. Guys, go listen to this. And finally, Betrayed 1985/86, self-titled, ends with Punks That Are Made in the Night. Oi, 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 Punks That Are Made in the Night. Punks That Are Made in the Night. Punks That Are Made in the Night. This fast jumping song. Punks That Are Made in the Night. Punks That Are Made in the Night. Punks That Are Made in the Night. Yeah. Fucking good. Yeah. 14 songs, about 24, 25, 26 minutes. Fast. This is a fast record. 14 tracks that just blow up in your face and cultivate the hate to annihilate the state. I mean, for real. Cotton and Crossfire, as I said, I was going to go back and mention that. You can actually hear that on this album. If you want a more melodic version of it, Cotton and Crossfire is right there. The link to that description below. It's just about people are living under the guns. You know, there's wars going on in society. I have a feeling the song is definitely about martial law, because military rules about martial law. Cotton and Crossfire just explains itself. And on a personal note, which I know you're like, why didn't you talk about this earlier when you were talking about the rest of the songs? Because I wanted to talk about it kind of last, next to Urban Assault. Cotton and Crossfire is one of my favorite songs on this, and not necessarily on a political note, but just on a personal note. Everyone can relate to this song. Have you ever been caught in the crossfire of something you originally didn't want to get involved with? Like, let's say you're just at work and you are just going somewhere and you accidentally run into a problem and you all of a sudden get in the middle of it without even trying to be. Oh, damn. Don't we all relate to that? Yeah, that song's fucking good. And this version is a just raw, stripped down, hardcore punk song. The version on this is more melodic. I keep bringing this up because this is Betrayed's new album and everybody needs to go support this. That's why I keep holding it and that's why I keep boasting about it. You need to go support this. I love it. You'll love it. It's got a damn good version of Cotton Crossfire on it. That's one of the most notable songs from Betrayed. And finally, you know, Hardcore Rules is hardcore. You know, it's about hardcore punk. Urban Assault. songs about society sucks and wanting to do something. You got so many problems in your head, it's going to cost you insane. You know, you got to blow up, you got to do something. It's Urban Assault. Who doesn't relate to that? Who isn't from a small town and or a corrupt country, or just somewhere where there's a lot of problems, or there's nothing to do? You want to do something because everything around you is boring the shit out of you, or it's just holding you back. You just want to blow shit up and make something happen. You want to just fucking annihilate. Urban Assault. I know a lot of these songs don't really need an explanation, and I'm trying my best to. It's just, this is an album that really speaks for itself. It doesn't really need that much of a description of these songs. From Kids Will Unite down to Punk Reigns, these songs are self-explanatory. They all flow with such good character. They're all built right. They all got good lyrics to them. They all sound amazing. And whether you listen to the DMZ original, the Twisted Red Cross reissue, or the UARM bootleg from 1994, however you listen to Betrayed, or whether you listen to Again, or Why Must Everything Involve Politics, you're going to fucking enjoy this band and everything they do, especially if you got to see them live back in the day, or today, because I hope one day I get to see them live. If they play in 2020, then hopefully, potentially, that'll happen. But until then, thank you all so much for watching my review of Betrayed, self-titled 1985/86. The reason I say 85 or 86 is obviously because it came out in 85, but most people know for the 86 release. There could definitely be a sound differentiation between the 85 and the 86 tape, because, I mean, obviously the 94 tape wasn't done with the master. I have a feeling the 85 and 86 probably were. I don't think that Tommy Tanchenko would have just taken the DMZ tape and cloned it. I'm pretty sure that he maybe they re-recorded it, not sure. But Betrayed's awesome. And shout out to Boy and Miguel, shout out to Buddy Trinidad, shout out to Manny Pags and Eddie and all them. Thank you so much, guys. You're fucking amazing. And rest in peace to Papa Dom. He unfortunately passed away. And rest in peace to Leslie David, because of DMZ Records. You'll forever be remembered. And big shout out to Tommy Tanchenko for reissuing this on Twisted Red Cross. And you know what? Oh, hell yes. Shout out to UARM Records, whoever the hell reissued the bootleg in 1994, because of all of the Betrayed tapes that you'll potentially come across, more than likely you will at some point, if you're in the Philippines or part of the groups, you'll probably come across the 1994 black and red bootleg, because it does swirl out there. It's a lot more common than Twisted Red Cross, and a hell of a lot more common than DMZ. You'll definitely come across that 94, and although I'm not really a person who condones purchasing bootlegs, if it means you have a physical piece of music by a band that you love, then what the hell, you know? I mean, I was going to say this earlier, the black tape, I'm glad that Boyette informed me it was a bootleg, because in 2018, before I even knew them, I almost purchased a black Betrayed tape for 2,000 pesos. That's $40. I didn't know it was a bootleg back then. I had no clue. I didn't buy it because I didn't have the money to, because it was closer to the time I was leaving the Philippines. And this guy I was talking to, he was selling one. He was like, yeah, 2,000 pesos. I was like, man, it's fucking expensive. And do I regret not buying it? Yeah. I wish I would have, because at least then I would have a physical Betrayed tape to my name, and having even a bootleg is better than having nothing at all. That is how I personally feel. I mean, because if you look at it, whether you spend that much money on the bootleg, or you buy a Twisted Red Cross or DMZ, you can't really profit the band, unfortunately. Which I wish there was a way for all the Twisted Red Cross and all of the bands over there to be able to support the band when you purchase the tape, because if you're in all the cassette tape and all the trading groups, you see people constantly trading cassettes and selling cassettes, and at one point, yeah, the money did go to the bands at one point originally, but all this is used and it's private sellers, and that kind of does, especially if it's a private seller and a bootleg tape. It's just a double negative right there, and that money doesn't go to the band, and I 100% firmly believe in supporting the band. That's kind of why I've honestly considered just making my own Betrayed tape, just so that money, it's not going to a private, what I'm trying to say here. At least if I make my own tape, then nobody is getting profited for work that they didn't make. As I 100% believe in supporting artists. And I've got a record label. I believe in that 100%. Anyway, guys, I'm Akaza. That's 30 minutes into this review. Please go listen to the first Betrayed tape. It's, like I said, it's stripped down hardcore punk to its finest. And as I have reviewed Caught in the Crossfire. Why must everything involve politics? This album is hardcore, it's melodic hardcore, but a little bit more polished, a little bit more friendlier on the ears for a lot of modern audiences. And again, the second album, I will review that in the future, but till then, go listen to this, go listen to it again, and go listen to Betrayed 8586. I'm Anarka, and have a beautiful day. Ciao.